Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to 2A News Now. And I thank you so very much for taking time to watch my video. I have no qualms saying that the governor of New Mexico has lost her frickin' mind. And I think most of you will agree with me. New Mexico's governor, Lujan Grisham's controversial comments in defense of a temporary gun ban, I call it a temporary Second Amendment ban, prompted fierce backlash on social media. The Democrat governor issued an emergency public health order on Friday, suspending the right to carry guns in public across Albuquerque and surrounding Bernalillo County for at least 30 days following the shooting deaths of 3 children in the area. Rightfully so, local law enforcement officials expressed concerns that the governor's order violated Second Amendment rights. The governor acknowledged that the ban may face legal challenges. She thinks it may face legal challenges. It most definitely will face legal challenges. And address these concerns during a press conference. I'm going to play a clip that's about 3 minutes long that's part of that news conference that shows her blatant disregard for the Constitution. I want you to notice right off the bat her smugness and how she points to the next reporter. I also want you to notice the law enforcement official sitting next to her. And when they pan out and you can see him, you can tell he doesn't want to be there. And at the very end of the video, when a reporter asked if she really thought that criminals for 30 days are not going to carry guns, and she says no.
Yes, all the examples you cited are crimes. Kids shooting at other kids, shooting from cars. So what's the value of the civil order? Why not just do better law enforcement?
Both. The value of the order is that it gives me 3 things. 1, it says it's a statewide issue and it's a message to everyone to start leveraging their resources and arresting people. 2, the jurisdictions come at this, including with the DOJ restrictions, differently, without the leveraging and the additional resources, arresting, and where do they go? We got to make sure that everyone is bumping up their services. It's a message to the Metropolitan Detention Center. It's a message to the HMOs. You better figure out treatment. We have been sort of stalled out, to your point. This order basically says, stop stalling out, and to your point, just arrest everyone. Well, I also have to have the ability, I can't arrest everyone. There are literally too many people to arrest.
Well,
this would allow us,
if someone's got a concealed carry permit in Albuquerque walking down a public street, they're not going to get arrested.
I can make the point that they should be. And this is the point. I'm willing to do anything and everything within a shred of evidence-based effort. Because if you're not horrified that on any street corner in too many cities in New Mexico, there is someone with a gun sticking out of their waist or their belt. And I'll tell you, if you're a young person, you're not allowed to have a handgun.
Well, it's a crime already.
I got it, but we won't be able to arrest all of them. So imagine, just in a perfect world, if this was upheld, it gives all of these police officers the ability to focus on the real criminals.
Last follow-up.
Yeah. But your point is valid.
You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carry license?
With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms. In this emergency, this 11-year-old and all these parents who have lost all these children, they deserve my attention to have the debate about whether or not in an emergency we can create a safer environment. Because what about their constitutional rights? I took an oath to uphold those too. And if we ignore this growing problem without being bold, I've said to every other New Mexican, your rights are subrogated to theirs. And they are not, in my view.
Wait a minute. Okay. You're talking about crimes. There are already laws against the crimes, so how are their rights?
I got it. But again, if I'm unsafe, who's standing up for that right? If this climate is so out of control, somebody should do something. I'm doing as much as I know to do.
Madam Governor,
Yep.
do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No. But here's what I do think. It's a pretty resounding message.
By the way, Governor, nobody really gives a shit what you think. And here's what Elon Musk had to say on Twitter. I'm sorry, it's now X. At risk of stating what should be obvious, deliberately violating the Constitution is next level illegal. How soon can this person be removed from office? Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' press secretary Jeremy Redfern said, the governor of New Mexico is using a public health order to suspend a right guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution. Yes, a public health order. Did you think the left was going to just stop at just forcing you to wear a mask? And like I said, a lot of people doubt the governor's orders will withstand legal challenges. Former Texas congressional candidate Christian Collins wrote, D.C. versus Heller and McDonald versus Chicago would disagree. Legal scholar Jonathan Turley wrote, the order, in my view, is flagrantly unconstitutional under existing Second Amendment precedent. It also could be a calculated effort to evade a ruling by making the period of suspension so short that it becomes moot before any final decision is reached by the court. Stephen Gutowski wrote, yeah, I doubt a federal judge is going to look kindly at the press conference where Governor Michelle Grisham openly talks about wanting to arrest licensed gun carriers and her view that her own oath of office is not absolute. This video is wild. Bernalillo County Sheriff John Allen said that he had concerns about the order, but was prepared to cooperate to address gun violence. While I understand and appreciate the emergency, the temporary ban challenges the foundation of our Constitution, which I swore an oath to uphold, Allen said. I'm weary of placing my deputies in positions that could lead to civil liability conflicts, as well as the potential risks posed by prohibiting law-abiding citizens from their constitutional right to self-defense. The sheriff got it exactly right. Violators could face civil penalties and a fine of $5,000. Licensed security guards and law enforcement are exempt from the ban. It also does not apply on private property, such as at a gun range or gun store, provided they transport the firearm in a lockbox, use a trigger lock, or some other mechanism that renders the gun incapable of being fired, the governor said. Then what is the use to have the gun? You mostly have law-abiding citizens that have the gun for self-defense. And this temporary ban on people's Second Amendment rights is not going to save lives, it's going to cost lives, because the law-abiding citizens can't carry their legally owned guns and use them for self-defense. And I hope to hear on Monday, groups like Gun Owners of America, the Firearms Policy Coalition, and others are going to file multiple lawsuits against this tyrannical governor's temporary ban on people's Second Amendment rights. As always, let me know what you think about this story in the comments section down below. And I appreciate everybody's support with the channel, especially the last couple of videos. You guys have been crushing it by liking, sharing, and subscribing and hitting those post notifications. And I invite everybody back to see my next video.